This is going to be just a quick video on how I built this nice little Trinket box. I love this little thing and it makes great gifts. I'm not going to show you how I machined all the wood down to get these sizes. The long sides are 5.5 inches, the ends are 3 inches, the width is 2.5 inches, and the thickness of it is 1/4 inch. I sand the inside to the finished sanding, and I cut an 1/8 inch groove for the bottom to fit in. The bottom is made of just a 1/8 inch thick piece of basswood. I put a drop of glue in the grooves to secure the bottom. I'm not concerned at all about any kind of wood movement with this thing. The box is secured with butt joints, so when I put the glue on the end grain, I let it soak in a little bit before I assemble it. Some clamps on the bottom and the top, and this thing is set. To get the glue out of the inside corners of the box, I like to use a straw that I've cut at an angle. The point will go right into the corner and it just scoops the glue right out. Now it's time to cut the rabbets for the corner of the box. I use an 1/8 inch saw blade and make one cut and then adjust the fence and make the second cut. It's very important to use a push block or a backer block when you run it through this blade. If you don't, you'd run a chance of the saw blade ripping out a piece of the top of the box because you're cutting across the grain. The legs are cut 1/4 inch longer than the width of the box. I'm using my Japanese pull saw in a miter box that I've built to cut these to length. This miter box works great for cutting all kinds of small parts. I glue the legs on with a little bead of glue in the rabbet. I then slide the leg up and down a little bit, and this helps to spread the glue around. By putting this leg in this rabbet, it also helps build that butt joint up to make it a little bit stronger. Blue tape for clamps, and these legs are secure. There's lots of ways to flush up the legs with the sides of this box, but I find the easiest way for me is to just use the belt sander. A few runs over this and it comes up nice and smooth. I use 2 different grits on the belt sander. I'll start with about a 50 and then I'll end up using a 120. Then I'll just go over with a hand sanding and it comes up really smooth. I'm using spray-on lacquer for the finish. I'll spray 3 coats and sand between coats with 400 grit paper. After the finish is dried, I'll then rub it down with a brown paper bag and then add a little bit of paste wax for a nice smooth feeling. I cover the bottom with some adhesive back velvet that I got at Michael's. I use a fabric cutter roller to cut this. It's so much easier than a pair of scissors. You can make a perfectly straight line. It's a little tricky at times to get this down into the box because the adhesive wants to catch on the sides. But once you get it in there and the backing off, it really adds a nice touch to this box. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I had a lot of fun building it, and if you try it yourself, I think you'll enjoy it too.